Kristen. Yeah, there's a lot happening in business travel right now, and as companies look to balance budgets amid rising costs and evolving travel demands, joining me to break this all down and the biggest trends impacting this sector and how companies are adapting is the CEO of Navan Expense, the all-in-one solution for travel, corporate cards, and expense management. And they're actually, well, Hyatt is actually one of their partners as well. So Michael Sindicich, he is the CEO again of Navan Expense. Michael, I do want to talk about the biggest trends right now that we're seeing impacting the corporate travel landscape, especially post-COVID.
Yeah, well, Navan powers travel and expense management for more than 11,000 global enterprises. So we have access to tons and tons of data. And what we actually see is the cohort from 2019 are actually traveling about 18% more than they were in 2019 to today in 2024. So while people were saying business travel may never return or come back, it is completely roaring right now.
But what would you say are the biggest differences? I know you and I had talked about this a little bit in Vegas for Money 2020, just about the uptick has been significantly increased since 2019 to modern day. So talk to me about those key findings.
Well, if we look at the trends, so what we see is actually office visits are up by about 5% of a share of why people are actually traveling on behalf of their company. We see meeting customers is completely back. It's about 1 out of every 3 or 4 trips is going out to meet a customer or a partner and close a deal or implement a solution. And we actually see also conference season is in full effect, and conference travel is actually up by 3% from 2019 to today. So everyone's getting back on the road. We actually think that part of the reason why travel is actually up is during the pandemic, a lot of companies were hiring employees remotely. And now what they're doing is they're bringing people back into the office. They're having offsites. They're doing things like that to bring the teams back together as people have been a little bit more remote across the company.
But we are seeing certain trends change a little bit when it comes to corporate travel. You were mentioning earlier how people are tagging on personal travel trips to their corporate travel trips. We're seeing more long weekends. We're seeing a longer trip duration. Talk to me about that.
That's right. So we see that consumer travel is softening a little bit while business travel is roaring back. And what we actually see year over year is 4 times as often business travelers are actually tacking on personal travel bookings. So they're staying for an extended weekend or they're going a few days early. So it's a trend that we call bleisure, where you're mixing both business travel and consumer travel. And that seems to be having a pretty major uptick right now.
How do you follow those key differentiations? How do you know which one is personal, which one is travel through your platforms?
Well, in Navan, when we actually pay your employees to save money. And what you can then do is you can use those rewards to book personal travel in the Navan platform. And so if you're already staying somewhere for work and you want to extend a day or 2 from your hotel, or you want to book a personal travel or a flight in between your work trip, you can actually do that on our platform. So that allows us to get key insights across business travel and personal travel as well.
And how are businesses and companies adapting to budget constraints when it comes to these corporate travel trips, whether it's a team offsite or team meetings or even just to meet clients?
Well, I'll give you a few stats first. So what we see is base flight prices are actually up 19% from 2019 to today. So we see inflation in effect here. We also see hotel bookings and spend is up about 14% on base prices since 2019. And year over year, it's about 5 or 6%. And we see a similar trend. You know, Starbucks is the most popular vendor when people are traveling for work. And we see actually year over year, the average price is up about 5%. So prices are increasing. And then what businesses are looking to do or doing in our platform is they're typically encouraging or putting policies that you book further in advance, for example, that can save money. Or you actually need to put, rationale why and justify the reason and make sure that it's a valid business trip. So that way you know that you're spending your company's money effectively.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't talk to you about the election that's happening today. Obviously, this is election day. So how are companies, in your vantage point, positioning themselves for potential policy change with the new administration potentially?
Well, we've seen tons of different administrations, right? So whether it's Republican or Democratic, businesses need to get out there. They need to keep showing profits. They need to close deals, and they need to be efficient with their travel and expense budgets. And that's exactly what Navan is here to provide. So I think, regardless of who ends up winning, I think businesses will continue to travel as they've been doing throughout the different administrations in the past. Now, sometimes they might need to control policy a little better if prices go crazy, or they might need to, in fact, expand their travel if we see that business is roaring back.
Now, we're seeing the hybrid model become increasingly popular when it comes to businesses around the world. How has that impacted Navan Expense, if at all?
Well, what we think, we firmly believe that doing this, being in person, is valuable and really, really important. And so even though, during the pandemic, people were saying business travel may never come back, we doubled down and we kept on going. And now we see that that's in full effect. So what we think and we firmly believe is that the power of these in-person connections is extremely powerful, whether that's going to meet a customer or partner or bringing your teams together as they've been hybrid to build culture and really build trust and work with each other. So we think that business travel will continue to resume.
And I know that we were talking a little bit about how Hyatt is one of the partners for Navan, but talk to me about what's next for your company.
Well, Navan is continuing to expand globally, upmarket and downmarket. So we already support over 11,000 global enterprises around the world. We're doubling down on the EMEA markets, going into APAC and continuing to expand so that more and more customers can have the goodness of Navan travel and expense management software. So that's our mission, and we're going to continue on that journey.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on NYSE TV Live. Michael, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.